AEW All-Out results, match grades, Moxley betrays Danielson, Hangman brutalizes Swerve. AEW went all out, at All Out, and it led to one of the better Ppvs in the company's history. The blood feud between two of AEW's reached its boiling point, again, after Paige set Strickland's childhood home on fire on Wednesday's Dynamite. Now Hangman has a physical victory to add to his mental victory over Swerve after their cage match brawl on Saturday night. MJF and Daniel Garcia opened the show with a hot, physical feud that led to an MJF victory over Garcia. Garcia, though, got his revenge with a brutal top rope piledriver to send MJF to the shelf. Pac and Will Ospreay put on a clinic on Saturday, too, another feather in the cap of the aerial assassin and his Countrymate, while the Blackpool Combat Club shockingly betrayed their leader Bryan Danielson following his victory. Hangman Adam Page vs. Swerve Strickland. Hangman finally gets his win. Well, kind of. The unsanctioned part of this makes it interesting. Hangman gets his first win in Ppvs vs. Strickland, but considering it doesn't officially count, Swerve still has one up on his bitter rival. This match was every bit as brutal as their prior encounters. It was, in some ways, even more brutal. The cinder block, the needle, the finishing blow chair shot. It was all glorious violence, and it definitely wasn't for everyone. The crowd was either stricken by awe or exhausted at the end of a long Ppv, but they didn't seem entirely into it, if only for the big spots. Given how hot this feud has been, it's probably a good mix of both. Page's descent into madness is complete with his win over Strickland. It's worth watching where his character goes from here, though a continued heel run is a welcome sight. Bryan Danielson vs. Jack Perry. The story between Perry and Danielson was easy enough, but the problem with booking a Perry vs. Danielson match is that no one actually believed Perry would win. Perry is a better worker than people give him credit for, and the scapegoat shtick is a good direction for him, regardless of the formula that went into creating the character. That said, this match was just kind of there. The heat that was expected for Perry in Chicago, given the fallout between him and CM Punk, was there for his entrance, but it didn't stick. Perry couldn't match the physicality of Danielson, which was the story of the match. It was good, but not great. Even a ref bomb and the involvement of the Young Bucks couldn't get the crowd believing Perry would win, which is saying something about both Perry and Danielson. The most notable part of the match is what came after. After Christian Cage seemed poised to cash in his contract for the AEW Championship after Danielson's victory, before he was stopped by Jon Moxley and the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club. But after a quick celebration of Danielson, Moxley, Claudio, and Pac turned on Danielson, Wheeler Yuta didn't seem to be in on it, leaving Danielson for, well, very nearly dead. The Moxley angle is mysterious and hot, like a TV dinner. Hopefully, AEW sticks the landing, especially now that Danielson is involved. Mercedes Moné vs. Hikaru Shida. Moné was put in a difficult position on the card. The match after a ton of good stuff, and before the double main event isn't an inviable spot to be in. The microwave feud of Shida and Moné didn't lead to much intrigue, especially after the Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné feud that, confusingly, is already done and over with. By the way, there hasn't been a single mention of Baker or that All-In match since. This was an okay bout, though it didn't have the crowd. The stipulation of not having Camille at ringside led to nothing, and the match itself was good, but at times sluggish. Still, Shida is a top-of-the-card talent with a worker's reputation, but it would be nice to see her pick up wins again sooner rather than later. Kazuchika Okada vs. Orange Cassidy vs. Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe. When AEW says it's "we're the best wrestle," it's not as much a slogan as it is a statement. Okada, one of the greatest of all time. Takeshita, one of the best, brightest, and young stars of this generation. Orange Cassidy, one of the best wrestling today. Mark Briscoe, one of the greatest tag team workers of all time, cementing himself as an excellent solo act as well. That's a recipe for greatness, so it's no surprise that the four-way, a match type which can sometimes be convoluted and hyper-choreographed, went off without a hitch. Okada getting the definitive win rather than picking up the scraps from another wrestler's finish continues AEW's interesting and effective portrayal of the Japanese superstar. While some thought Okada's comedy side overshadows his abilities as one of the all-time greats, it's a refreshing and enjoyable look at a guy who's been at the top of the heap for a long, long time. He also is still an all-world worker when the lights are brightest.